Socialism works for everybody.
Does it?
Yeah.
Where is socialism work? Where is socialism worked?
You pay your income tax?
Income tax is not socialist.
It's not?
No. Well, I think it's way too high, isn't it?
Yeah, but socialism is where everybody pays in.
Why don't you, do you give more money than your income tax every year to the government?
What?
Do you give more than what the government asks you to give each year?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
A lot.
You give more to the government?
Yeah.
So you give more than what the IRS asks you to give?
Yeah.
You do?
Uh-huh.
So you think that, do you trust the government?
I don't take all the deductions that I'm entitled to.
Do you trust the government?
For what? Of course I do.
You do?
Yeah.
You trust the government that recklessly audits people they disagree with and runs inefficiently and has huge bureaucracies of
I have to
nothingness?
tell you something. I'm a retired federal employee, so I used to work for the government.
Which agency?
Department of Agriculture.
Okay. So do you think there's any waste in the food stamp allotment in the Department of Agriculture?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, so you do think government is wasteful?
Well, we have to do something. We're not perfect.
Well, that's a horrible argument to spend trillions of dollars having to do something, isn't it? You just admitted you worked for the Department of Agriculture, which oversees the distribution of food stamps, right? And
Well,
you had
actually, what I did was
part of what the Department of Agriculture does
I did
is
payroll.
you did payroll for the Department of Agriculture?
Well, for most of the government.
Okay.
We wrote 700,000 paychecks twice a month.
So did you know of any government employees that were not very good at their job?
I knew a lot.
Did they get fired?
No, they hired contractors to do their work.
So, but did the government employees get fired
What? Some of
That-
them did.
for not doing their job?
Yeah.
I find that very hard to believe.
We had a lot of people that get fired.
It's very hard under civil service protection to lose your job in a government
very
bureaucracy.
easy.
Very difficult.
If you go to the MSPB, you'll see that they have 90% approval rate for dismissing people.
Do you think government is too big?
Yeah.
Okay, then you and I are in agreement. We agree that there's inefficiency, and so that's our whole argument.
I'm saying socialism is what our government's about.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Part of the worst parts of it might be, but I reject those parts of government.
What parts? Income tax, welfare?
Yeah, that would be a good start. Food stamps are too much. Housing and Urban Development, Department of Education.
What about Social Security?
I don't think young people should be forced into paying something we're not going to see. Social Security annualized growth rates are lackluster at best.
Yeah.
The government takes 7% of our generation's earnings to subsidize older Americans.
Have you seen the homeless problem?
That's
Have you seen people that cannot
Sure.
work for a living, that have mental problems, or
Yeah, I mean, I think there should be a safety net, but not a hammock. I think you'd agree with that.
socialism.
Define what you mean by socialism, though, because I think we might be
Take where everybody pays in together. Everybody pays in for the common good.
for the common good. So,
Yeah. This university here, how many people could go to school here if it wasn't for the government paying for it? Nobody could pay for an education.
sure, there's private institutions that exist. Sure, there are.
Yeah, but how do they work?
Quite well.
Because of donations. They work on socialism
So
also.
if your example of socialism is college tuition that rises every year, that is run widely inefficient, administrators that are unchecked, professors that should be fired, then you and I have the same definition of socialism, which is something that doesn't work. So here's the whole thing is I think government is far too big. It's gone outside of its constitutional intent and authority, and market-based solutions are far better for the well-being of its citizens than government bureaucracies are.
Yeah, but there are some things that have to be paid
Of course,
for
no,
by
I
the
agree with that.
public.
Police, firefighters.
Police.
But wouldn't you agree it's better on a localized level than a nationalized level?
What? Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we agree. So localize more government programs. Don't federalize them.
But you still have to have government, even if it's at the local level. You have to
Sure,
have
I'm not an
socialism.
anarchist, and that's not socialism.
Okay, but my point was that nobody here could go to school if they had to pay for all the costs.
They do pay for it in tax. Somebody pays for it somewhere, whether it be taxes or the endowment or donations or tuition.
The alumni. You know who actually pays for school here?
The taxpayers mostly.
The sports program.
Well, and taxpayers. It is a publicly funded school, I would imagine, right? I mean, it's a
I
state
have a
school.
friend who was admitted to the graduate school, got a full ride scholarship for 2 years as a graduate student to study animation.
Okay,
So she wasn't paying a dime.
but somebody paid for it
Yeah.
at some point. Nothing is free. Somebody's paying for something at some point of the transaction.
Right. If they had money, it was socialism that somebody paid for. A lot of people pay
Right.
for it.
So I don't support that. I don't support other people being able to live on the well-being of the forced extraction of wealth from others. I believe for the paying of basic services, such as police and fire, roads and bridges on the most localized level possible, as well as the national military. Do I believe in the Department of Education? No. Department of Labor? No.
That's all socialism.
That's why I don't support it.
What, you don't believe that we should have roads? We should have private roads and people pay for them as they use them?
No, I believe as localized as you possibly can be. The Department of Transportation is a mess. It's widely inefficient. Doesn't work well at all. Yeah, so I mean, you're making my argument for me.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that we still have to have socialism, even if it isn't
Okay, so
effective. You still
your
have to
your
have
example is social. So socialism is the government run of social utilities, essentially. The government use or the government monopolization of social utilities. And the worst parts of our society, such as the Veterans Administration, which runs horribly, is a socialist program.